Hello, everyone. This is Gary. Kind of wanted to go through something, and I'm trying something new with prop firms. So, if you guys haven't known, I trade a lot, and I've been trying to get into algorithmic trading, and I've tried to size my algorithms in such a way that, or at least the algorithms I'm trading in such a way that I shouldn't blow prop firm accounts very easily, and so therefore these algos just take forever to pass a prop firm account. And really, the way that you kind of look at it is, on sale, an Apex account is about $40 a month, and if you want to pass one, it's $40, and then if your algo takes 6 months, it's 40 times 6, so $240. So 4, 8, 12, 16. Yeah, so $240 to pass a 50K Apex account, plus the $140 fee to activate it. Okay, well, that's Apex, right? And then there's other firms that have the end of day drawdown, like My Funded Futures, which, again, same algorithm, but My Funded Futures is $77 a month, but there's no activation fee, right? So you could say, I forget what even the math is. We can open a calculator, and 77 times 6, it still takes the same 6 months. That's $462 for a funded account. All right, so one algorithm I'm looking at should be able to pass these accounts in about 2 months, roughly, and it should be fairly accurate. It doesn't have a high chance of failing an account, if we put it that way. So I've been getting into looking at Bernoulli's trials, and using these trials. And what Bernoulli's trials says is, basically, you have two states. You either have a true or a false. In this case, a prop firm is a pass or a fail, right? And if we can do the statistics and look at a Bernoulli's trial, and I'll do an example of this here in just a moment to show you guys what a Bernoulli's trial really looks like, right? So if you was just by default have a prop firm account, there's about a 50-50 chance that you pass the account. Not quite a 50-50 if you was just to say, hey, let's go straight up, just go long, right? Because you got $2,000 drawdown, or $2,500 of drawdown on a trailing drawdown. So it's not quite 50-50. It's more like a 40% chance that if you enter at any given point in time max contracts, that you will pass the account. About a 40% chance by default. So if you was to have an algorithm, and we're going to run a Bernoulli's trial real quick. We're going to run it against a end of day drawdown with a loss limit. I wish my right click wouldn't do that. With a loss limit of $2,000 and a profit target of $5,000. Right, and this got a leading zero. Really doesn't matter, but we'll remove it. So if we have a 50% win rate, and a losing trade loses $50, right? So we have a 2R, right? And a winning trade wins $100. We average 10 trades per day. In Bernoulli's trial, you don't really matter how many trades per day it is, right? It's just an end-of-day drawdown. That's how we derive that in this particular algorithm, right? So if we run this simulation, I'm actually running this simulation 1,000 times, right? That means I'm taking an account and I am running it until it either hits that passed or failed state in Bernoulli's trial. All right, we have the 50% win rate. It's not always going to be 50%, right? Because if you take this coin toss, right, in this case, we have a 50% win rate. If you take a coin and you toss it, right, it's 50%. But if you say, okay, well, out of 10 coin tosses, I might get 6 that are heads and 4 that are tails, right? If I get If I toss it 100 times, I might get 55 that are heads and 45 that are tails, and so on, right? It's not always going to be that 50-50 until you get a huge, an astronomical amount of tests. Then it should get closer to 50-50. And that's basically what Bernoulli's trial is sitting here doing. If I go and generate a random number, between 1 and 100, and that's how we're deriving that. Right, so every trade I flip a coin. Is it going to win? Is it not? And if it wins, I add $100 to the balance. If it loses, I subtract $50. Right. If we increase our win rate to something like 60%, we can see that we pass our accounts faster. Approximately 13 days. This is 13 trading days, not 13 real life days. So subtract weekends, so that's about 2.5 weeks, right? A little over 2.5 weeks. At a 60% win rate, 10 trades a day. That's what we look at. If we increase this to 70% and so on, and we can keep doing this over and over, we go down to about 2 weeks, right? And if we really wanted to look at an algorithm, and I trade some of the QuantView algorithms, I trade some of my own algorithms, I trade other vendors. We're going to look at a QuantView algorithm that has been super optimized. I'm not going to give you the settings because that's what I'm trading, but it's a super optimized QuantView algorithm. It has about an 89% win rate. But here's the deal. The losing trade is a lot bigger than the winning trade. If I run the simulation though, given what I know, we're going to select in this case, we're going to select a My Funded Futures 50K core account, right? And that says I got a end of day drawdown of $2,000, a consistency rule of 50%, and a profit target of 3,000. Right? If I just run this algo, just how it comes, right? I have almost a 100% pass rate. It takes me 52 days to pass this account. Again, there's about 20 trading days in a month, so 2, 4, 6. So about 3 months, almost 3 months to pass an account. All right, sometimes it's 3 months, sometimes it's more. Sometimes it's less. So it just depends on the run. So if we take this and we increase this multiplier, right? I don't need to pass 100%. I just need to get better than paying 3 months. What I would like to do is get into paying 1 month. Right? I want to pay $77, trade it until I pass or fail, pay the next $77, right? So if I run the simulation with a multiplier of 2, which means that we're taking our winning trade amount and our losing trade amount, and we're multiplying by 2 for each trade. You can see the average trading days, and we can see the trades here that we took, right? So we can see how that all worked out, right? So we still have a success rate of about 100%. Great. We increase this to 3. We can see that our success rate is now falling to less than 100%, but it's still pretty dang good. It's 99%. And our average trading days is 17.47, which is about 4 weeks, just shy of the month. So in this case, what we see is about 1 out of every 100 accounts that I go and purchase and run through the same trial will pass or fail, right? But 99 times out of 100 will pass. I still don't like waiting around that long, so let's see if we can increase that one more time and see what happens. See what we're giving up. So this is still less than 3 weeks. It's about 2 weeks and a day on average. And we gave up quite a bit, right? We gave up 9%, almost 9% of our success rate. But hey, at least here, 9 out of 10 times, I'm still passing an account, which means that if I was just to take this algorithm and trade it at a 4 times multiplier, right? And what that means is 4 times multiplier just means, hey, trade it 4 times the size of what this back test did. And this back test, we did 1 micro NQ. So, for micros in this case, we have a 91.6% success rate, which means that if I was just to go and start an eval right here, I would pass this eval, I would be funded right here, and I would start my next eval right here as well, right? This would go up to payout status. I may or may not even take the payout right here. I don't know. We'll see. Because as that account balance grows, the higher this number gets on the funded account. So I may actually skip the first payout. That's fine. But I'll take my first eval, take it up to payout status, and while I'm taking the funded account, I'll be starting my second eval. I would have gotten up to payout status and passed my second eval here. I would start my third eval right here. So now I've got two funded accounts and an eval, right? And if I just keep going and keep going and keep going and keep going, right, it's theoretically possible that I do blow an account. It's possible, but after how many payouts, right? So that $77 is nothing compared to taking 10 payouts, 9 payouts, 8 payouts, 2 payouts even, right? $77. If I average 2 payouts per $77 I've paid, right, that's $6,000 for every $77 that I pay, right? I don't care about keeping the accounts around anymore. I want to take the payouts. So this is the mindset that I've had going into prop trading for over a year and a half is, hey, I don't want to lose accounts. Hey, I don't want to blow on my evals. Hey, I want to be as safe as possible. But what I've noticed over the last few weeks and months of actually trading, and actually QuantView mentioned the Bernoulli's trials. This is what actually got me looking at it more. They showed on a webinar that I looked at that they pretended a static account, right? They showed, I believe it was the Blue Sky 200K. I don't think I even have a template for the 200K static. But it was two. We can go look up Blue Sky real quick and we can see what the plans are. And they simulated the static evaluation, 200K, $6,000 drawdown, $2,000 or $6,000 and $2,000 loss limit, right? I think the consistency on this is 30% as well, and they didn't simulate the consistency in their test, but I did. It doesn't let me backspace, but we'll take it down to 30%. All right. So if we run the same exact simulation right here on that static account, we can see that we're right around 80%, 81% successful. So 1 out of every 5 evals I blow. That's great. Honestly, that's great, because how much is that eval? Okay, if I go and pass the eval and take 3 payouts for every $150 that I spend, right? Is it worth it? Yeah, very much so, because I've taken 3 payouts. I've made $9,000 out of that $150 that I spent. So that's something that what I've noticed actually over the last several months is if I take a little bit more risk, I get more payouts. It was crazy that the first 12 months of me trading prop firms, I was trying to be less risk averse and trying to take the slow and steady up, and I blow so many accounts trying to do like that, and that's fine as long as you're taking payouts. But the first year I didn't take a single payout. I just blew accounts left and right. Now I've taken more risk over the last 90 days. I've taken 4 payouts over the last 90 days, and what this is showing me is how to make that risk actually make sense, right? Do you want to take more risk when your success rate is very low? No, you don't. But if your success rate is very high, sure, take the risk. Now, I'm gonna go ahead and say this as far as this back test is, I mean, nothing ever matches the back test 100%, right? So I did add on this particular back test, because the original strategy shows even better than this. But on this particular back test, every trade I added 5 ticks of slippage on the buy and the sell side, right? And then I also added commission fees to that, just a more aggressive commission fee than normal, which makes this look a little worse than what it is. That's fine, because the original algorithm is like a 1, 2, 6, so this is 6 times the size of the winning trade amount. So, but that's just what I wanted to show. And I do have another version of this Bernoulli trial that actually does take the back test and forward and basically simulate the actual trades from within the back test. I think it matches pretty closely to what I see here. Just tossing the coin, so it allows us to do far more trials like this, because we don't know what the next trade is going to be, right, at all. But what we do know is that no trade is going to dictate what the next trade is going to be, right? The market could be streaming way high up and then reverse in an instant, right? We don't know that, but we can do statistics and say, well, there's this high of a percentage chance, right? And so what the success rate of 81.2 is basically saying, hey, we have 1,000 trials that we ran, right? We can increase this. Out of those 1,000 trials, 81.2% of them passed, right, by that coin flip, right? 81.2% of them passed. The other 19.8% blew. They failed. And it took on average 20.28 days. So I'm not saying that, if I do a multiple of 4, right? So let's go look at Apex, and this intraday trailing drawdown actually throws a wrench into this a little bit. And I simulated on theirs, they showed static, right? And I simulated intraday trailing. How does that work out, right? Well, it throws a wrench in it a little bit, right? So if we look at this, just remember the end of day was 100% success rate on a one-time multiplier. Now I'm down to 99.7 just right out of the gate. And it's the Apex 50K trailing drawdown. If we take this up to 2x, and now I've dropped down my 10%, right? I've already took my 10% success rate. Remember, on the end of day, that was at a 4 times multiplier when I've already done that, right? So which one's easier, the end of day or the trailing? Okay, I went down to a 3x, up to a 3x multiplier. I got my average days to pass down to about 13.5, a little less than 3 weeks, and I'm at 81.6% success rate. So 1 out of every 5 I fail. So that's something to look at, is when you're looking at how am I trading this? Well, you're going to understand, well, there's trailing drawdowns, end of day drawdown, static drawdown. Static drawdown is by far the easiest to comprehend and the easiest to trade once you kind of get going, but you have less drawdown to start with. And end of day drawdown is kind of that happy middle where, during the day it kind of feels like a static account, but at the end of the day, if you made $1,000, well, then your drawdown resets, right? You have the same drawdown you did yesterday. And then the trailing drawdown just kind of blows altogether. But there's a lot of them out there, and they're fairly popular. So this is just something to look at. And don't get discouraged if you run a trial like this and you do the math yourself, and you say, okay, well, I'm gonna have an 80% chance of success, right? You see here, I pass. I blew one, right? And you may start right here. You don't know. You may blow your first one, blow your second one, right? Just like this. But then you have several pass ones, and then you may blow another one. You got several pass ones. You blow 2 of them in a row, and that's not unheard of, right? That you do that. But you get these long stretches of a lot of successes, right? And then you may blow 3 of them back to back. That's fine, right? Don't get discouraged, because what is the cost of doing business? Well, you're going to blow a few accounts. And if you blow a lot less than you take to payout status, then you're doing good. So that's just what I wanted to show. It's a tool that I built. I may publish it. I may not. I don't know. But nonetheless, guys, look up Bernoulli's trials. They're pretty neat. It's a neat concept to take into trading, and especially with prop firms and taking advantage of prop firms. Thank you, Apex, not Apex, QuantView, for actually mentioning this to me, to everyone. I just built the tool to take it a little further and understand it a little bit more. And maybe we can publish this up. I don't know. We'll see. If you guys like what you see, like, comment, subscribe, and peace out.